Welcome to Observable tutorial video. To go on, we should know. Observable is not a JavaScript language. Observable is some kind of wrapper that combines some data. Observable run like a spreadsheet. First, we should know what is cell. Cell in Notebook is a separate script that runs independently. Here you can define a cell with any variable and in any order. Cell is confirmed or started via play button at right side of the cell. We should always name a cell with a unique variable, but any repeated variable won't be working. Now let's do some simple calculation. Let us assign A equals to 20. And let us assign B equals to 5. Let assign C equals to A plus B. Now let's see the resultant by pressing the play button. So A plus B equals to 25 or C equals to 25.
We can change the title of the cell or rename it. Let's change it to multiplication since we are focusing on multiplication. You can create a new cell by clicking on plus. Moving on with a code. You can perform your own programming code. As for now, I am using simple programming code that execute multiplication till 12. I will write whole programming code inside two curly bracket. Before executing any numerical programming, we always define variable first. So let's initialize it as mult equals to 1 and constant C equals to 1. Here I am using for a loop and I am trying to increment value of C till 12. Inside that for a loop cycle I am writing the main function as mult equals mult C. Here I am using return statement that will return the final mult to be displayed. We got the answer. First let's change the name to circle. Since we are writing code on drawing a circle, I am going to write circle equals to and then we'll write whole program in that two curly bracket. Let's initialize all the variable. I kept W equals 450, H equals 450 and radius equals 450 times 0.45. You can give any value for the variable, but as for now I kept it 450. var c equals dom.context2d is a function that allow final drawing to be in 2D and inside it is total size of screen display. We are setting element of canvas to set its attribute to by naming c attribute to the value. So our canvas equals c.canvas is a function that will set its naming or as a setting attribute. C.line width means the width of the outer line of the circle and I am setting it to 2 because it will be little dark and we could see the outer line properly. C.fillStyle equals #ff3399 means that the color inside the circle and I am setting it to #ff3399. #ff3399 which means light pink. C.begin path is a function that begin the angle of the beginning and ending position of the circle. The most of the complicated piece is the arc function, which is used to draw the final circle in the circular curve. C.arc is a main function. W divided by 2, H divided by 2, radius times 0.45, 0 is the center coordinate of the circle. 2 times math.pi is used for a circle which is the radian of the equivalent to 0 to 360 degrees. This is used to draw a full circle. C.fill is a function mainly for the fill style attribute and C.stroke is mainly for the full circle to be drawn properly. We can also use inside arc function meaning clockwise. This is more of an issue when you are drawing a partial arc. After completing the code for drawing the circle, we must return the canvas value so that it could display after executing. Let's press or click on play button. We got a pink circle as intended.
Now let's us focus on data visualization. Here to minimize the time consumption I have already written the program code, and in this video I am just copying the code and pasting each statement in new cell so that you guys will have a proper understanding, and I will also explain function of the codes. As always, let's start our tutorial session with the title by changing the title to Data Visualization. Then let's click on play button for executing it, and voila! Name change to Data Visualization. D3 makes web-based visualizations easier. D3.js is a built-in library that allows great control over the final visual result. The margin convention is a heavily used convention that allows SVG graphics to have a border of space around the data visualization so that everything is visible and no elements are cut off. Here I have made my own dataset of my country with its state and population. I have named the dataset as pop, and inside that I divide into dzongkog, meaning state, and number is the total population in the state. You can create your own dataset or you can download a dataset. Here I have set its height to 450, which I will say that is the display dimension space on the screen. It will be in terms of pixel. You can set to any value according to your convenience. Let's set its width to 450. As said, it is the display dimension. But in will be horizontally measured. We can draw a diagram in x and y coordinate in 2 dimensions, so defining x and y is to use linear and band scales. In this code it will map the domain scale value to the range or screen display screen. In Y the code also map the domain value to the screen display. After defining the x and y scale, it's time for us to define the x and y axis. Let's start with x-axis, and x-axis should be at the bottom, so in the code we have written call.axis bottom, which will print the x-axis at the bottom of the display. After defining the x-axis, let's define y-axis, and we know that y-axis should be at the left side of display. So, in the code we have written call.axis left, which will print the y-axis at the left side of the display. In this chart I am going to draw a rectangle for each column which is assigned to state or dzongkog. Select all function will select all the D3 existing rectangles on the page, and we can join a data by a function. Data. I am writing pop inside the data because to join the data, a true is an attribute that apply vision display to the viewer. Fill will fill the bar or rectangle with a color, and I have selected blue color. And I am assigning it axes to dzongkog and x-axis as number. Then setting its height and padding space between bars.